Now we will conclude with Gonzalo Himiob Santomé, who has a presentation. You come. Okay, thank you.
Well, good morning to you all. It is really a privilege for me to be here at this summit, not only because it gives us, the Venezuelans, the chance to tell to the world the truth about the political persecution and intolerance to the dissidents in our country, but also because it gives me the opportunity to share with you some of the stories of living and breathing people like you and me, that are now suffering grave violations of their most essential human rights in Venezuela. So I want to be perfectly clear about this. The right to life, the right to liberty, the right to personal security, the right to be free from arbitrary detention or incarceration, from illegal criminal persecution or conviction, the right to be born free and to be treated as equals in dignity and rights, and even the right to be recognized as a person, not as an instrument of the power for the intimidation of others because of our political beliefs or even our religious beliefs, are being intentionally violated in Venezuela since 1998 by the Venezuelan government officials, the Venezuelan criminal courts, and police and military forces, with the only purpose of maintaining Hugo Chavez in power as long as possible by disarticulating and intimidating any democratic opposition in Venezuela. I have several examples of this here. There are hundreds of criminal investigations right now in court and is still pending against people that have expressed their dissent against the Venezuelan government. More than 19,000 oil workers were fired after 2002 national strike in Venezuela, were denied their severance payments, and were included in blacklists, so no other oil company or other related to the government companies out and inside and outside Venezuela would hire them. Also, people that vote against Chavez, against Hugo Chavez, in any referendum or election, is included in lists that are later used to deny their right to work for the government, for example, and even visas or identification documents such as passports and IDs. This is the people from the oil worker. This is a group of lawyers and victims, I am there, that came to the Hague in 2004 to file a complaint at the International Criminal Court against Chavez and some of the people of the government. This woman right here is Mónica Fernandez, who was the director and president of the NGO, human rights NGO, Foro Penal Venezolano. All of the people there, the Gente de Petróleo, who was the oil workers and the merchant sailors, Mónica Fernandez, and we the lawyers and the victims we represented, are now formally labeled by Hugo Chavez and his governments as traitors to the country. Just because we came to the International Criminal Court and to the American system of human rights to file petitions against Venezuelan officials and against the Venezuelan government, Hugo Chavez himself has requested to the Supreme Court the opening of a criminal investigation against not only us, the lawyers, but also against the victims we represent, the victims of violations of human rights. That was on July 31st, of 2003. There are also a lot of cases that demonstrate the government intolerance, including not only free journalists, lawyers, and activists of human rights, but also dissident officers, military officers, and even former public officials and ministers, such as retired General Francisco Uzón, who was convicted to more than 5 years in prison for alleged offenses to the military forces, just for express to tell to the public on TV his technical opinion about the possible causes of the death of 2 burnt soldiers in a military headquarters in Venezuela. He was a former minister of Chavez, Minister of Financial Affairs. He passed through the opposition files on April 11, 2002, when he saw from the power what was going on in Venezuela, what was really going on in Venezuela. Just because of that, Chavez ordered the criminal investigation against him, and he is now serving in parole, thanks God, right now, 5 years and 6 months in prison. There is also the case of General-in-Chief Raúl Baduel, which is a very special case because this guy was and is compadre of Hugo Chávez Frías, and until recently he was his Minister of Defense. Just after Baduel publicly questioned the legitimacy of the constitutional amendment proposed by Hugo Chávez for February 2009, and criminal investigation for alleged corruption charges was issued against him, and he is now in prison waiting for trial. The other case is that over there in the corner of the picture is the case of Otto Gebauer. Otto Gebauer was sentenced and is now in prison to almost 13 years in prison just because he obeyed on April 11, 2002 the order to bring at that moment deposed President Hugo Chávez Frías from Caracas to the island of La Orchila, near Caracas. He refused to give to the military prosecutors false statements about the alleged plans for killing Chávez.